Food's a basic necessity for everybody, but with the right strategy, it can provide more access to a nutritious diet or nurture a local economy. Part of the strategy is the network of farmers markets selling food produced by local growers since the 1970s. To tell us about plans for reopening in the weeks ahead is the executive director of Mass Farmers Markets, Edith Murnane. Thank you very much for being with us, Edith.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I want to start with the introduction to, this is for people who don't know farmers markets. What do they have to offer that you cannot readily get at a regular supermarket or some other kind of chain store?
So the food that you're going to get at a local farmer's market is fresh. It is coming out of the ground that day. You're going to be meeting the farmer or folks that are working on the farm. You'll have a sense of how many people have touched the produce and how far it's traveled in order to get to you. It's a much safer, healthier environment. You're going to get greater nutrient density out of the products that you purchase. And in this day and age, farmers markets across Massachusetts are creating an environment that is far more open. The aisles, for example, at the Copley Square Farmers Market will be 15 to 18 feet wide, which allows for greater social distancing. That's much more difficult to do in a grocery store. So really you're seeing much of the same food that you might find at a grocery store. Some you'll find that you won't otherwise see, right? One of my favorite vegetables is a purple top radish. They're wonderful to eat. They're tasty. They're not too sharp, and you don't find them at grocery stores, but you'll find them at the farmers market. You'll get greater diversity of particular products. You'll get rose-colored onions. You'll find a broader array of mushrooms. You'll find other sort of unique to New England products.
Tell me about the flavor, because I don't want to pick on any one chain here. I buy things in the produce sections of a supermarket that are well preserved, but they're a little bland compared to what I get from a garden or from something closer to home. What about that difference?
It's a wonderful difference, and you're seeing that taste difference for two reasons. The first is that when you go to a farmer's market, it's fresh. It's product that's picked out of the fields that day or the day before, and so all of that wonderful taste and juiciness is in that product. It's sun-kissed. It hasn't been irradiated. It hasn't been, there's sort of none of that stuff that needs to happen in longer or larger transport conditions. Plus, you've got what's called terroir, right? Food that comes out of the local ground has its own flavor. As you might think of terroir for wine, think of it for tomatoes. Think of it for onions, right? This is the ground, this is the environment in which that product is growing. And that's why you get that flavor difference. And our farmers have been responding to customers here in New England. It's much easier to grow a tomato or a cucumber or an onion that people really respond to because you're selling it to them directly. Whereas when you're buying for a large-scale grocery store, you have to buy something that is easily accessible, readily accessible year-round, and has a very particular flavor profile. And that flavor profile is for the majority of people, not necessarily for a community.
By the way, what about the profile of producers? Because when I hear farmers, even if they're from Massachusetts, I think it's someplace that's far away. But on the other hand, some of these growers, they're right here in the city, aren't they?
They are indeed. Boston has got a very vibrant urban agriculture, urban farming community in Dorchester and Mattapan and Roxbury. Boston has been supporting that network for quite some time. Boston also has one of the largest community gardens of any city in the United States. We have more community gardens than, more community gardens per capita than virtually any city out there. So Bostonians like their food and they like their community gardens. And Boston has been very responsive to that. Now, having said that, I am in Mass Farmers Market's headquarters here in Massachusetts, here in Waltham, and our offices are on a farm. So farms in Massachusetts are really all around us. They are as far away as New Braintree and West Hampton or Williamstown, but they're also as close as Waltham and Newton and Boston.
I have to wonder, how are they doing? Because there could be problems with supply chains and just getting people to feel they can work safely. Are these people struggling right now, the growers?
So growers are notoriously innovative, and they are quick thinkers, fast on their feet. And so what I would say is that in Massachusetts for 50 years, we have been building a small farming community, a community in which our constituents support small local farms. And that's been going on for 50 years. So for the most part, it is about getting product to the people who really want to buy it, right? So it's about farmers markets. Farmers markets need to open because that's going to be a way in which people can safely purchase local farm product. A number of online options have also become available, but quite frankly, more and more people really want to buy local. They really want to know who they're buying from, how far it's traveled. They feel that their food is safer knowing who has handled it. And the people within the industry that are really a part of getting food to the greater Massachusetts constituency, their neighbors, their friends, their family.
Well, sometimes good fresh food can be a bit pricey, but you have a background in bridging gaps in food access. How will that work for farmers markets in Boston, especially?
So here in Massachusetts, here in Boston, we are extremely lucky to have something called the Healthy Incentives Program. And the Healthy Incentives Program provides 40, 60, or 80 extra dollars every month for someone who is on SNAP. And what that allows folks to do is to use those dollars at the local farmers markets. And it's only at farmers markets that you can access HIP dollars. So that's why it's important that these farmers markets open throughout Boston, throughout Massachusetts, because now more than ever, people need access to those extra food dollars. And HIP really provides that and provides it well. And Massachusetts, again, is really innovative. They are at the forefront of this kind of programming. We've been doing it for years now.
Speaking of innovation, I always think of farmers markets, whether in Boston or elsewhere, as this sort of appetizing cluster of produce and people. Things have to be spread out a bit more this summer. So will that work?
So it will. The Massachusetts Department of Public Health has worked with the Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, as well as their stakeholders, farmers market managers, farmers, constituents, to come up with a series of guidelines. One of the most important is that farmers markets are essentially, they have perimeters, they have entrances and they have exits. And because of that, there will be a flow. And people will manage that flow. And because market managers are going to have to manage flow, you'll still get to see your neighbors from a distance. You'll still get to see your local farmers from a distance. You'll still get to buy a local product. Sometimes you'll even be able to buy some online in advance and then go to the market to pick it up, right? So farmers markets this year will be a lot like grocery stores in that there will be an entrance and an exit, but you'll be outdoors and you'll be in the fresh air, and you will see the people and know the people who are growing and selling your product, right? So yes, there will be some distance between the booths, but that's a good thing.
We should mention, I know that there are still some last minute revisions about the opening date for the market in Coffee Square, but if people want any more updates or information, you have a place where they can find that online?
So, so we will be updating our website, we'll be updating Facebook, and we have launched a text messaging option this year. So if you go to our website, www.massfarmersmarkets.org, you'll see that there is the ability to sign up for updates. So that's the best way to stay as up to date as possible.